The success of an SUV depends on a number of factors, including pricing, spacing, comfort, and convenience, among others. And this MG/HS is absolutely no exception. Good afternoon, folks. My name is PK, and welcome to Humanoid Drive. In this video, we're going to have an in-depth look at the 2025 MG/HS, otherwise known as the biggest SUV that the company currently offers in the local market. We're going to have a look at this vehicle inside and out, have a look at some of the design features, how the headlights have been designed, the interior, the spacious and ergonomic features that this vehicle has. We're also going to look at some of the technical features that this vehicle also offers, because as we know, in addition to all of the functional features, a great selling point in SUVs nowadays lies in the technical features that it has. Now, this particular spec of the HS features a 1.5 liter turbocharged petrol engine under the bonnet. It produces a total power of 125 kilowatts and a generous 275 newton meters of torque. All of this is sent to the front wheels via the 7-speed automatic gearbox. Now, the HS comes in two main trims, the Comfort as well as the Luxury. And this particular one is the 1.5T Comfort, and as we've already established, it features the 1.5 liter turbocharged petrol engine. And so, without further ado, we're gonna unlock this bad boy, hop inside, and get a feel of her both inside and out. Let's go in. Now, there are two ways in which you can unlock and gain access to the cabin of the HS. The first method is the traditional method, which is the key. You can essentially hold the key in your hand, press the unlock button, the vehicle will unlock, and the lights will typically come on as they have done just now. The second method is more interesting. As long as you have got the key fob in your person, you can just keep it in your pocket, and utilizing these buttons on either side of the vehicle, you are able to wirelessly lock and unlock the vehicle. Currently, I've got the vehicle unlocked, so if I press this button right here, the mirrors actually fold in, indicating that the vehicle has been locked. Now, if I press it again, the mirrors will actually fold out. In the process of all of this, the lights will actually go on. The amber turn signals will also glow a steady amber, telling me that the vehicle is in the process of actually locking and unlocking. One of the things about the HS that intrigues me very much is the front end. The front end styling is such that the vehicle doesn't necessarily give it away at first glance that it is an SUV. In fact, when you first look at this vehicle from the front, you get the sensation that it is just a large crossover or a hatchback. Now, I like the fact that the styling is so modern. In fact, if we have a look at these HID headlamps, these high intensity discharge xenon headlamps, they are made up of something called Psych Vision LED lighting system, which is some kind of high-tech lighting system, and they do glow extremely bright. I will demonstrate this a little bit later. And then you've got this color to match bumper that features these 4 parking sensors at the front here, which aid the 360-degree camera system. The sporting design doesn't actually end there, because at the front here you do have this splitter. Now remember, this vehicle being an SUV is very well raised from the ground, so this splitter is in absolutely no danger of scraping the tarmac, the ground, etc. So that's what makes this design genius and an absolute winner. You also have got the prominent MG front logo right there, which does obviously give it away that this is indeed an MG. Now, at first glance, you will not be able to identify this as an MG. In fact, many of the Chinese SUVs that are currently on sale today, they've got a very unique look, a look that gives it away that this is a Chinese SUV. But this being an MG, a British company, you will never be able to actually associate it with any of that belonging. So it does look very unique in its front end design, very intriguing indeed. Now, if I press this button right here on the key, this vehicle will actually have the lights on. These are the high intensity discharge headlamps, extremely bright. You cannot stare right into them, otherwise you will be blinded. So right now we're going to check out the rear end of this vehicle. When I first took a look at the HS at the rear, I kind of thought it looked like a Model X Tesla, the SUV Tesla. I mean, I stand to be corrected, but I do think it looks like that. In any case, one of my favorite design features at the back is this like red LED that strikes through across the design of the vehicle here. Yes, granted, this is not necessarily a new design in that many vehicles have them. The Haval H6 has it, the Porsche Cayenne has it, a lot of other vehicles have it, but the fact that it is being used so frequently doesn't make it look any exciting nor any less beautiful when used in vehicles like this. One of the most commendable things that MG has done to the HS is to avoid over naming the vehicle at the back here. There is no, like, you don't have many logos at the back here. You don't have like the logos that depict the comfort line, the level of spec, all of that stuff. All you have is MG HS, and that's it. Now this is a 1.5 comfort line, but none of that says it here. There's no engine capacity, there is absolutely nothing, and I believe that MG have done a great deal of justice for themselves as far as this bit is concerned. Now this vehicle, although an SUV, it does assume kind of a sports coupe like look because it tapers all the way from the front to the back. When it gets here, there's this very sharp point right here between the logo and the top of the boot lid right here. So there's a very sharp point here that actually it has, and it's actually a very nice design. So it kind of blends in a coupe and an SUV like look. Very unique design, I must say. And then of course the boot lid itself is electric, so if I just press here and step back, the vehicle will just open the boot by itself. And then when you open the boot, you've got a very spacious cabin, like a boot space right here, which is of course graced by this privacy shade over here, which you can just pull to protect prying eyes from looking into whatever you have in here. The boot is of course electrical. In here you've got a couple of pockets as well as isofix anchorages. So if you press here, the boot lid will ever so elegantly fold back in by itself. Now at the back here, you've got something that looks like carbon fiber, but it's not necessarily carbon fiber, but it really looks so beautiful that you can at first glance think it's carbon fiber. And I'm not saying this to point embarrassment on MG, because this genuinely does look beautiful and well styled, and also it contrasts beautifully against this piano veneer finish right here. So you've got this carbon like finish, and you've got this piano veneer finish, and then you've got this gray over here. Now at this point, you've got 4 of these rear parking sensors. So this vehicle has got 8 parking sensors in total, in addition to the 360-degree camera system that it has got going on. We will check that out a little bit later. It definitely goes without saying that when you get an SUV, buy one, own one, the 2 most important things that you look for when you've actually come to the point of owning one are space and comfort, because you will spend most of your time inside here taking in the ergonomics of the vehicle. And I think MG have definitely got this one correctly. They've gotten it perfectly right, because as far as space in this vehicle is concerned, I'm just going to pull up my seat to the perfect driving position. Now this is my normal driving position as a driver, and when I sit here, the first thing that I notice is how much room I have in here. So when I look at the front here over the bonnet, I can see the road just as I'm meant to see it, because the sitting position here is actually very commanding. I've got a very commanding driving position. When I look outside, when I put my arm here, everything is just within reach. The center console, the electronic gear shift, the wireless charging of the phone, the mug holders, everything is just within reach. It is a very impressive vehicle, this. Now, sitting in the driver's position of the MG HS, you've got a very commanding view out of the windscreen. Now when you look from side to side, you also have beautiful ergonomics. You also have ease of access to the center console right here, electronic shifter, and that is your humongous screen. Now when I press this button twice, the vehicle actually comes on. You are greeted by the MG animation, as you can see right here, as well as the immediate reading of the vehicle status. You you can see that the vehicle needs fuel. It's currently showing me the speed limit of the area I'm at. It shows me which doors are open and which doors are closed. There's plenty of other features in here as well. You can also feed your adaptive cruise control, among many other things. On the left over here, by the way, this one screen has got a septum right here that separates the infotainment system from the instrument cluster. Now, as far as the infotainment system is concerned, as you can see, it basically works like a smartphone. You've got this humongous features, like this humongous collection of menu items right here, including video settings, your camera system, your radio. Now, if I scroll back here, you've got these subcategories, which include app connect, climate control, radio, and navigation. Now, if I slide back again, because I want to show you the 360-degree camera system, so if I press this button here, you find that there is the vehicle's 360-degree system. As with many other modern vehicles, on the right you've got the top view of the vehicle, and on the left you've got the specific view. For example, now this is the front view of the vehicle. Now if I press here, it changes to the rear view. If I press on the left, this is the side view on the left, and if I press on the right, it switches over to the right view. I like how it also tells you as well what view you are on, so that you can avoid making a mistake, because it's very easy to mistake the rear view as well as the front view. So it does tell you what view you are in right now. Now, this right part here is basically meant to be a reference point. You cannot swivel with this. This is the part that you can like pinch, zoom, all of that stuff. Here, this is pretty much rigid. It's a reference point that you can just use to control all of your camera angles. It looks really, really good. As you can see, when a person walks at the front here, you can actually see the live feed of them doing so. So it is actually quite a nice feature right here. Now if I press the home button, it takes me back. Now this is the climate control. The vehicle does have a dual climate control system, meaning that you can set individual temperatures for the driver as well as the passengers, or you can just synchronize them. Now you have seat heating at the front here as well, not at the rear though, just at the front. You also have got your climate control speed, your fan speed, your zones, your all of that stuff. Like everything is included in this. Now if I press this button here, I can just automatically switch off the climate control system. Now if we move over here, these are the buttons, the quick access buttons to the climate control system. This is your front defrost, rear defrost, hazard lights. This is the on off of the whole system, and that is the home button, which when I press takes me back home. And down here you've got a dual air vent system. And then if I'm just going to turn this thing off for a minute, there we go, it's off. Now if you go down here, you find this dual air vent system right here. Now in addition to these two air vents, you've got these other air vent at the driver and the passenger. So you've got a total of 4 air vents at the front here. Down here you've got this dual USB system right here, USB-A, and then that's another USB-A. That's a 12-volt power outlet which doubles as a cigarette lighter. I did not know that they still made cigarette lighters for vehicles these days. Dual mug holder system. That is just as simple as it gets. This is the electronic shifter. It feeds the 7-speed automatic transmission. That is the parking gear right here. That is the hill descent control. Automatic start stop, that's the parking brake, electronic parking brake. This is the wireless charger. So you just rest your phone here and it will just begin to charge automatically. Piano veneer finish, very, very beautiful. That is a leather finish right here with this bronze colored stitching right here. Top here you've got a hard plastic, so it's not as nice as here, but it's not exactly bad either. Piano veneer finish continues, very, very nice indeed. Now moving over to the center over here, center console is actually finished in this leather, same leather as this one you'll find right here, with this double bronze stitching right here. Flip this open and you'll find a bit of storage right here. Nothing too crazy, just a bit of storage for like small things that you can just keep over the duration of whatever road trip you have. Now the driver's seat over here, if we look at it, we can just open that for a bit. Now there are a couple of materials that graze the driver's seat. You've got this leather right here. Now this this is all leather. This is leather with this bronze stitching that runs all the way right here. Now all of this is leather, and then if you go here all the way through to here, you find that it's actually a hard plastic. Now this is a hard plastic, and then this is brushed aluminium. This door handle right here is brushed aluminium. Now this is finished in this piano veneer finish. You also have got a speaker right here, and then another speaker down there, and then this will be your storage for whatever you might want to store, whatever bottles you might want to store, etc. And these are your electric window and mirror controls. Moving to this side, you've got a bit of storage, which I just opened by pressing that. Opens up. It's a bit of storage. I'm not certain if it's meant to be an ashtray or what. It doesn't say. It's just a bit of storage, so you can put maybe your coins or whatever you may fit in there. And then down there you've got your headlamp leveling, and you've got your bonnet release. Those are your driving pedals right here. And then over top here you've got this manual rear view mirror. So this is not an auto rear view mirror, it is a manual rear view mirror. Now this being a ranged hopping vehicle, I would have expected for them to at least fit an auto dimming rear view mirror. However, it's not a deal breaker as far as I'm concerned, especially if you consider the fact that this mirror has got very, very thin bezels. It is very thin, which I actually do like. It's a design I appreciate very much in modern day vehicles. In front of the mirror you've got your sunglass holder, which you just press and then it just folds down. You've got your interior illumination as well as your sunroof and sunshade controls. Moving over to the driver's side, you've got your sun visor, which when you slide open, this will typically come on, but the vehicle is currently in battery saving mode, so it does not come on. You've got the same thing happening on the passenger side as well. You just open that, and then as soon as you open it and flip that open, that light will come on. By the way, the same material you will find on the passenger's side is the same material you will find on the driver's side. So the vehicle itself does look very, very nice to actually drive and to actually sit in. Speaking of sitting in the vehicle, these seats here are made of perforated leather. Now if you remember earlier on, I did mention that these seats are actually heated, not cooled, just heated. So the perforation in the front seat here aids in the seat heating, being able to reach and warm up your bottom. And then the leather, the bronze stitching of the leather that does continue on the sides, as well as the leather finish itself and the back of the seat as well. You've got these bolsters on the sides here, which actually are quite prominent, and you've got this you've got this headrest over here, leather finished as well. Very, very nice. Overhead you've got your sunshade, which is a little bit flimsy because I feel like it could have done with a bit of like a hard material, but nonetheless I'm guessing over time this will wear off. It will kind of like bulge down, which will make it a not so nice design to look at. Nonetheless, this is MG for you. Now the front design, or rather the design of the steering wheel, is such that it's got a flat base and a flat top, and then at 10 and 2 it's got these beautiful thick bolsters which allow you to have a firm, comfortable grip of the steering wheel. And you've got this sport design with these little like perforations on either side of the steering wheel. Now the piano veneer continues into either side of the steering wheel with the aluminium, brushed aluminium, going all the way covering the airbag all the way down here. Now over here you've got your phone controls as well as your radio controls. On the right here you've got your vehicle controls for the cruise control, all of that stuff. They go right here. Now the MG logo ring is extremely prominent, a very simple but very prominent logo ring. That's your airbag cover, that's your hooter. I'm not going to press that. So the steering wheel itself does actually speak to what I said earlier on, that this vehicle is not necessarily an SUV. It has been designed as one, but its personality is the personality of a high performance sports vehicle. So it does look that nice. So from here we are going to check the HS from the rear. As we have already established that comfort and convenience are best friends when it comes to owning or being driven in an SUV. Now, Assuming that you're going to have occupants in the shape of kids or even adults at the back here, you need as much space at the back as you do at the front. And I think MG has got you perfectly on that, because the same levels of comfort, the same levels of space that I had at the front, I've got right here in the rear. Now, this seat is currently positioned such that it's a driving position for the person driving the vehicle. However, sitting like this, I've got plenty of legroom, I've got plenty of shoulder and headroom. I can actually sit back and kick back as comfortably as I can at the back, just like I can at the front. So it's a very spacious vehicle. One bonus feature in this vehicle is the fact that there is no drive shaft hump, and it actually adds quite a compliment to the space features of the vehicles, because this being an SUV, you want it to have as much space as possible. Now, speaking of comfort, as far as the seating is concerned, the same levels of luxury for seating have been carried over through to the back, with the exception of seat heating. Now, if I pull out this armrest here, it actually folds out. You can either have it as an armrest or a dual mug holder system, depending on whether or not you have a middle occupant. Now, speaking of middle occupants, if I shift over one to the middle, I'm still as comfortable in the middle as I am on either side, thanks to the fact that there is no drive shaft hump in the middle of the vehicle. With the result of this, I cannot just spread my legs out, because I've got ample space to sit as the middle occupant. And I think that has become a very important feature in SUVs nowadays, especially SUVs, because they are synonymous with ample space, head and legroom. So I think MG in this front have done an amazing job with regards to consideration of space for the middle occupant. Now, as far as rear climate control is concerned, you've got these two air vents right here. Well, I say two, but it's really a single air vent that has been divided to look like two air vents. I mean, it's a single zone climate control system, and then you've got two USB-A points right there, and you don't have much else going on. Now, going back to the air vent itself, look, I think a bigger air vent system could have been better appreciated. This is not necessarily a deal breaker, but it's not exactly nice either. I mean, I would have loved to see a better, like a bigger and better air vent, but nonetheless, we are here. But apart from all of that, I really appreciate the levels of space and comfort that there are here. There's also a bit of an interior illumination and a coat hanger, and these little grips here as well that you can actually appreciate. And then both of the seats have got pockets at the back here for you to store whatever you want to store. And then yeah, you've got appreciable levels of comfort here. And then the sunroof continues all the way through to the back, so you've got a lot of light coming in with the sunshade open. Again, the sunshade is a bit flimsy, so I don't know how long this design is going to carry on, but I'm really hoping not for long, because in place of cloth, I would appreciate a harder material, or maybe like leather or something that's a bit more durable than this cloth right here. But nonetheless, we are here now. This is MG, and we are appreciating it. So it does feel extremely comfortable. So being a rear occupant in the MG HS, I definitely feel like I'm important, because I do have access to all the features that there are at the front there, with the exception, of course, front seat heating right here. But apart from that, I've got the same levels of leather as they do, the same levels of brushed aluminum, electric windows, everything. So everything in this vehicle at the back is the same as that at the front. So this is definitely a well considered, well executed vehicle, especially if you consider the R500,000 price. Yes, of course, this vehicle will set you back just R500,000. I mean, these levels of comfort and luxury you might get for way more in other brands, but here it's just for that R500,000. Now, the engine itself is a 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine. Gives out 125 kilowatts of power and 275 newton meters of torque. Now, all of this power and torque figures are sent to the front wheels via the 7-speed automatic automatic transmission. Now, this is the only engine available in the entire HS range. Now, you would expect for an MG of this caliber, because this is the big daddy MG. This is probably, with the exception of the Roadster, of the electric Roadster, this is the most expensive MG that you will find in the market today. So I would expect for them to have at least 2 engine options, maybe include a 2-liter bi-turbo or single turbo unit, or maybe a diesel option, just to kind of invite a wider range of consumers, because there are people who find petrol a little bit too high or too heavy on fuel, with the to such an extent that they would opt for a diesel instead. I mean, diesel works a lot nowadays. It works on a wide range of vehicles, and I don't see a reason why it would not necessarily work on the MG as well. So I would like to see a diesel engine, or at least a 2-liter turbocharged petrol engine being trialed or maybe used in the MG HS, especially as far as you consider the fact that this is a high-end MG SUV product. So comfort, convenience, styling, reasonable pricing, affordability, all of that stuff, those are the kinds of things you look for when you look at or wish to buy an SUV like this MG HS right here. And I mean, it's not a perfect vehicle. It's not a perfect vehicle in that it does lack here and there, but as far as its execution is concerned, I believe that this vehicle has definitely been made with not just the driver but with the entire family in mind. It's got a spacious boot, it's got a spacious front end, it's got a spacious passenger cabin right there. It's got amazing features, convenience features that allow for you to charge your phone wirelessly with a cable, all of that stuff. So it's been made with the family in mind. It's been made with the driver in mind. So it's been made such that even after you drop off the wife and the kids at home and school respectively, you are able to enjoy the vehicle in your own capacity. So it's quite a well-rounded package, and it comes at a very reasonable price as well, because for an SUV in South Africa in the modern day to slot at just over 500,000, that is an absolute bargain, because these levels of comfort, luxury and convenience you might get in other vehicles for a lot more. So the MG HS is a nice product that has actually been bulged into one package that provides you a lot of things in a single packaging basically. And I do hope that you guys have enjoyed this review as much as I've enjoyed filming it for you. So do stay tuned for the next one to come in the Documented Drive channel. Thank you so much guys for watching, and take care.